Hey everybody, you're watching Cadroll Hunter, and we're going to look through this box of 2,000 Canadian nickels to see if we can find any oldies and goodies, and to see if we can fill some spots in our beautiful Lighthouse Vista Canada album. Stay tuned! Hey everybody, this is James and you're watching my channel Cadroll Hunter, and we got a box of Canadian nickels. They are customer wrapped, they are circulated, and we're looking to see if we can find any old nickels in here. That would be really cool. We want to find some album fillers for our beautiful album, but we're trying to see if we can fill that just from coin roll hunting. So just from what I find in these bank rolls here. So I went to the bank and I asked to withdraw $100 of nickels, and this is what I got, a full box of nickels from the teller. So we've got 50 rolls of 40 nickels. So that's what coin roll hunting is all about, is just looking through lots and lots of coins to see if you can find some cool stuff. If you're just going through your pocket change, hoping to get cool stuff or old stuff, you might be waiting a long time. So we're just accelerating the process. Let's get into this roll and see what we can find. Well, the very second coin is going to be a 1979. That's a good sign to start. It means we've got older nickels here. This is made of 100% pure nickel. We're going to hold on to all of those because the nickel content is worth more than the face value of the coin. So I'm going to put that in the nickel cup. But I noticed that the very second coin is also an older one, but this is a 1964. And one of the key varieties we're looking for is the 1964 extra waterline. We've got our coin roll hunting mat here, and there it is listed, 1964 extra waterline. So this is a bit of a cheat sheet on what to look for, and we hope we're going to find some of the things that are on here. Let's take a peek under the scope. One of the things I highly recommend you have is a USB microscope. We've got the pluggables here. This is available from Amazon. I'll put the link in the description below and up in the top corner here so you can find that. But here it is under the scope. What we're looking for is a die crack that looks like an extra waterline by the designer's initials. We don't have it here, but that is a cool one to find, and it is valuable even in a circulated condition, and this one is pretty circulated. That might still be a $20, $30 coin. If you can find it, that's awesome. And of course, I pull aside all of the Laureate portrait coins, so I'm going to set that on the board. That is our first find there for the board. We'd like to find some more Laureate portraits, and of course, we'd love to find King George VI or his dad, King George V. So just 2 rolls in, we're already getting lots of nickel, lots of stuff from 1981 and earlier to fill the nickel cup. That's a good sign. Well, roll number 3, here's another good sign. Check it out. We're going to get a dime. Can you see that there? There's a reeded edge in there. We're going to get a dime, and we're going to get an older nickel. I see a 12-sided edge there. So this is going to give us a couple of finds. I'll just slap it down and try not to throw them all over the place. We're just going to look in here and see. First of all, it's just a modern dime, 2014, but that means we're up 5 cents. And then the older one here, what's it going to be? It's just from the 60s in 1962. There's a variety we can check here too for the 1962 double date. Throw that up under the scope. And what we're looking for is essentially it's a re-engraved date. We would see lines underneath the 1, the 2 there particularly, but we don't see that here on this one, but it's a second Laureate portrait for the board. Well, we're getting lots of things to check here. Here's the 1965. There's a really rare variety. When we flip it over, we're looking for the large bead variety, and what you're looking at is in Elizabeth II, you want to see if there's a large bead right in the middle between the 2 eyes here, the Roman numeral 2. We have the small bead common variety. That's not what we're looking for. It's exceptionally rare. It would be really valuable. It's a really unlikely find, but you'll never find it if you're not looking for it. So it pays just to check these things. I've found some pretty cool rare stuff that I wouldn't have known about if I hadn't been looking under a microscope for some of them. Roll number 4, there is a nice commemorative. That's the 2017, a beautiful beaver design. That is for the 150 years, the sesquicentennial of Confederation. Roll number 8, we've got our first 1990 to check. We're looking for the bare belly. I got it up here, and what we're looking at, of course, is this belly section of the beaver where the dye was polished away. leaving very little detail of the fur. We don't have that here. That's just a normal 1990, but a really fun variety that you want to check for if you find a 1990. Lots of 80s and 90s in this roll, and here's a pretty nice looking 1998. Well, this is roll number 10, and I think we're going to get a 4 in here. We got a golden colored coin. It almost looked like it could be a tomback nickel from the 40s, although those are all 12-sided. But there it is. Let's see what we got. And we don't. We've just got, I don't know, a rusty, discolored nickel from the 80s, but that edge looked really solid. It looked like a foreign for sure. And we got faked out. Well, 13 rolls in and we're going to get our first foreign, and it is a nickel from 1977 out of Denver from the United States of America. And it didn't take long to follow that up. Same roll. We got another one here. This is a 1990 out of Denver. And at the end of that roll, it is our third Laureate portrait, 1964. It is not the extra waterline. Roll number 14 is going to give us our fourth Laureate portrait. It is really damaged. It's got a big ding on it. It looks like it's been painted, and it's in terrible shape. It's a 1955, so it's a bit of an older one. Our first from the 50s, but it's got some stuff on it. I don't know what's going on with that. Roll 21, we're going to get a couple of US at least in this roll. More modern one here. There's a 2011 Denver, and I saw another edge over here. What's this going to be? Another more modern one too. That's a 2006 Denver. Just at the end of roll number 22, we're going to get an older US nickel, and I can see it's older because it's got the Denver mint mark beside Monticello. And it's not all that old. It's from 1962. This is probably our fifth US nickel so far. Well, I thought we'd take a little bit of a break from looking at the nickels to have a peek at something I bought a little while ago. I actually bought this, I'm going to say maybe 6 months ago, and I just set it aside. I hadn't looked at it again. I just found it today, and it's really interesting. I bought this whole set here. Now, before I even tell you what I bought it for, I'll tell you what it is. This is the 1967 Centennial of Confederation set. Now, this is not a mint set. These might be the circulation coins. This is an aftermarket Whitman case, so you can put all of the denominations in there. We've got the penny with the rock dove. We've got the hair on the nickel. Got the mackerel on that silver dime. That could be 50% silver or 80% silver. We got the bobcat on the quarter. We've got the wolf on the 50-cent piece. And of course, we've got the Canada Goose on the silver dollar. And these just look incredible. Look at how shiny they are. Not a bit of tarnishing on them whatsoever. What's really crazy is that I got this whole set from a dealer, I should say maybe not even a dealer, a member of the Waterloo Coin Society who is selling parts of his collection. And there are lots of dealers there. If you haven't ever been out to the Waterloo Coin Society, you should come out. For members, there is a live auction every month, a 50-lot live auction. It is very rare that a lot doesn't sell. It's actually pretty active, which is pretty awesome. We probably get out about 75 to 100 members every month. So it's a great place. But in any case, there are lots of dealers there. If you're looking to pick something up, you can find some things there. I paid $40 for this. And just to put that in perspective, fast forward to today, and one silver dollar, like this one here, is actually worth $32 in melt. Okay? So if you add then half of that, $16 for the 50-cent piece, now you see what we're talking about. We're at $48 already. Then we got the quarter, we got all the rest. And these are all in beautiful condition. I'll flip this over so you can see the other sides of these coins. Just gorgeous and gleaming. Some of the scratches that you see on here might actually even been on the case itself. So when you think about the pace of inflation and you think about the change in the cost of silver, it's really incredible that this is a pretty considerable store of value that is keeping up with or beating inflation in a way that just putting cash in the bank can't do. So anyway, really cool purchase, $40. It was probably a steal of a deal at the time, and it looks even better today. So just wanted to share this one little thing with you. Let's get back to those nickels. Roll 30, I've got a 1996 under the scope. You always want to check for a die chip between the 6 and the D. It's called the attached 6. It looks like these two are joined. It's a die chip, but it's one to look for. That's a cool variety. Roll 31, we have another Laureate portrait. We know it's going to be a 63 or a 64 because it is a round nickel. It doesn't have the 12-sided edge, and it is, in fact, a 1963. Just open up roll number 33, and we're going to get an ender. We got a Laureate portrait there with the 12-sided edge. Now that we've got it down, we can see what this is going to be here. It is a 1962, and I see at least a couple more American edges in here. 1964, and another one back here. That one's going to be a 1980 from Philadelphia. Roll 34, we got an older US here, a 50s Jefferson nickel, 1958, and it's got some gunk on the back, but it is out of Denver. So we got a 50s Jefferson nickel. That's pretty cool. Roll number 39 was almost exclusively 80s and 90s Cupro nickels. And I suspect that somebody got rid of whatever they'd been holding on to, and many of these clear plastic rolls are the same. And if you're wondering, a lot of people ask me if I keep that, and I haven't been keeping it. There's obviously some steel stuff in here as well, but I haven't been keeping it because it's simply not as valuable as 100% pure nickel, which is what I'm keeping here, and we're getting a good amount of it. But to put it in perspective, both copper and nickel have been on the rise, and I just pulled it up. And so one copper nickel, and I just put it in here. So I'm saying Elizabeth II from 82 to 99. It's worth 7 cents. So it's definitely worth more than face value. At this point in time, from my perspective, it's just more worthwhile to send this back to the bank and hopefully get something interesting or more valuable. Just multiply our chances of finding something more rare, perhaps more nickel, I guess, or varieties. So I'm not keeping it yet, but let me know if you are keeping anything that is 75% copper, 25% nickel, or cupro nickel. Roll 41, there's another Laureate portrait, 1964. It is circulated and it does not have the extra water line, but that's another Laureate portrait for the board. And have a look at that, just like 3 coins behind it, we had another one. So maybe there's some older stuff in here. We'll just take a peek. We got some 80s, 90s, 82. So there's a good mix of dates in here. I see we're going to have a US in here as well. That's from 2001. Roll 42 has another discolored edge, and before I get my hopes up, we're going to look at it. Now I have a feeling it's probably just going to be a dirty discolored nickel, and it is. This time though, it's from the 70s, so we can at least put it somewhere useful in the nickel cup. And we're going to get our 8th Laureate portrait. It's a pretty scratched up 1964. No extra water line that I can see on that one either. We're in roll number 50, and we haven't had much going on in the last number of rolls. If there's anything worth showing you, I'll do that. If not, we'll come back for a bit of a wrap up and see where we stand with the album. Well, we're finished that hunt. It was a pretty light box, to tell you the truth, but we did pretty well with nickel. We got about half a cup of that. That's good. That's at least a couple rolls, maybe like 2.5 rolls just of nickel. We got 14 foreigns, all from the United States, the oldest one being that 1958 Denver Jefferson nickel. We actually got a dime, so we're up 5 cents. That's always good. In terms of the finds for the board, we had 8 Laureate portraits from the 1960s, a couple 62s, a 63, and 5 1964s. And our oldest Canadian of the hunt was this 1955 Queen Elizabeth. And that is about it. We didn't get anything that I think is going to be an upgrader. We didn't get anything that's going to fill a spot in the album. But we'll take a little peek at where we sit with the album right now and what we need to find in our next box. So we're sitting at 101 of 122 spots in here. There are some extra spots that we filled that don't have spaces labeled. What we're gonna need, of course, is, well, the key date 1925. That's gonna be a really hard one to find, but any of the King George V are tough. We got lucky lately, but we've still got some spots to fill. If we look into the 40s, the 42 Tomback, the 43, The 1947 dot would be a very hard one. The 48's the key date, but that's not unattainable. The 1951 high relief, just to give you an idea, is an exceptionally rare coin. We're not likely to fill that. So really, of the 122 spots, there's probably a few that we don't have much of a chance of getting. But once we get into the early 50s, we pretty much have all the stuff that we could get here. The 64 waterline, we're always looking for that, of course. That's going to be a tough one. And then there's some NIFCs not intended for circulation. So really what we're going to need is to get really lucky and get some oldies and fill some of these slots from the 20s and the 30s. In any case, we're always hopeful we're going to get that, but I hope that you enjoyed this video hunting a box of Canadian nickels, looking for treasure, looking for additions to the album. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, CAD Roll Hunter, please hit that button and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching. I always appreciate it. We'll see you again next time. The sponsors of today's video are Lighthouse Canada and the Charlton Press. Lighthouse Canada is the leading supplier of high-quality numismatic supplies in Canada, and the Charlton Press is the leading publisher of coin and paper money catalogs and price guides for Canadian collectors. Go check out their online stores today and use the exclusive discount code CRH20 for 20% off all your purchases.